Sorry about that, y'all. Still trying to get this stuff going. Still having a few problems. Anyway, we're back and we're gonna try and wrap this little conversation up. What I was saying was, is you see how the brow catches light on top and then starts rolling around with the shadow right here and goes in. And if you turn him down like this, it gets darker in there. You can turn him up and he'll catch more light. But these are good examples of having a good reference. Everybody should have some good skulls. They don't cost much. You can get them from cheap. You can get them from Coast Airbrush. Still wanting to get both of those sizes, but for now I just use my little cheap Halloween ones that that the jaw doesn't move or anything like that. They're just little fakes. But anyway, we'll try and get this going. I noticed I was talking a whole bunch, so we'll try and get this thing going. So we're gonna try and pick up where we left off. Grab our airbrush, and we're just gonna try and go back in here and start darkening up and pushing this eye socket area back, because I really like having, if my skulls don't if they don't have any eyeballs in them, or stuff coming out like that, I like to be able to kind of come back in here and get a little bit of texture, lighten that back up. I like to have them real dark because it's just more of a stylized look that I like. Kind of makes them a lot more bold, and just kind of, because whenever I find that whenever you have an eye socket that looks like that and it has the more realistic look to it that shows all the texture and stuff in the eyeball, you kind of lose it. But with this way, this more stylized way, you can really get a focal point and really discern the eyes from the rest of the bone texture. And this isn't like a realistic type thing. This is more for stylized. So once again, we can get some different stencils. I have a pretty good assortment of stencils. I have these made by R-Tool, and you can take and you can do different things with them, and always be conscientious, however you say it, of what shapes you're trying to use, okay? And all you do is you basically just match up the shapes that you're trying to create, your structure that we laid out with the stencil, and you just kind of match it up. You can turn it all these different ways. And so we're going to try and push the side of the head back, right there by the temple, and see how we got a pretty hard line right there. We'll try and blend that back. So we'll take, and you want to be careful whenever you're spraying stencils. You don't want to put wet paint on you see how it made a mark there? You don't want to put wet paint. So if you get wet paint, just dry it up or wipe it off so you don't make that transfer. And we'll kind of move this one around and back up. And then it don't take much to define that edge and give you a starting point to start doing some freehand airbrush work to push those sides back. Because whenever you use a freehand stencil, you do like that and you make a really hard line, it makes it hard to cover it up or change it. So you want to make sure that that's where you want that before, because in order to make that line disappear, say you wanted a break in it, you would have to really black it out, and that's not good. So you want to be really light with your stencil work until you know that's exactly where you want it, and then you can start going in with your darker tones. So we're just going to take and we're going to try and blend that. Excuse me, that trigger got away from me. just start kind of blending it back and pushing it back. And then if we find that we want that darker, but it's too dark now, we can take our skull stencil back, put him lining back up, and then darken our background, which needs to be darker anyway, because trying to have good contrast. And this is all about working back and forth, you know. So I mean, it's a trial and error process, and you just keep playing with it until you find what you like, and you find that look that you're looking for. And another thing we can do is we can take our eraser and really just put some texture in there. And this paper actually, despite it not being really great for airbrushing, it gives it a pretty cool texture. And let me see if the camera's picking that up. Not really, but I'll take y'all in for a close-up, and you can see what I'm talking about. Oh. See how it starts giving it that texture? Yeah. And that's just from, sorry y'all, probably getting sick, aren't you? And that's just from using an eraser to scratch that out. And the texture in the paper does a lot of the work for you. See? Because the dark spots is where your paint is recessed, and the higher spots is where the texture of the paper rises, and you're erasing off the top of it, and so that gives you that nice little speckled effect. Let's see, let's get back where we need to be here. Move y'all in maybe a little bit closer. Yeah, let's try that. And let's see. And so we're going to take, and we're going to try and do the same thing over here. What did I do with my pencil? I know you'll see it. We'll just use this one. We'll just take and just kind of rough it up. Put some texture in there, blow the eraser dust off, and just kind of fade that sharp line out. Do the same thing back over here. Just kind of push it back, kind of soften it up. And then what we can do is we can bring this brow up, bring it around, kind of give it some, push the top of the brow back so it gives it a nice rolling around, and get our eraser back out. And then we can just, as we go, start just racing in some good texture. Don't have to be any kind of rocket science. And all that did, that little bit of erasing makes a big difference in your artwork. Because I haven't really put any color in this. This is just overspray. So I'm using my overspray to give me some tonal value down here and up here so that I can work in, take that texture out with the erasers. And you notice that it really doesn't take much to do that. And this circle here that was in our original stencil, in hindsight, we could have put some tape over it or anything like that. But I think that once we get going, we'll be able to hide it. Because I'm going to take and push this back, and we'll raise these up right here. This ridge that comes off the top of the brow. I don't really know what the hell it's called. but I know that there's something there. So we're going to raise that up. And we'll kind of come back to this because we're just going to kind of work our way around. We'll just start trying to put some tones in here, some shadows and stuff to kind of give us, just using our imagination, where we think and we could imagine that there would be some shapes that are going to be pushed back. And we can start working in our texture. And we know that we're going to be catching some white off the bottom of this. And so we can start roughening this up. And I'm getting pretty aggressive with it. I mean, that's just the way I am. I'm really aggressive with the way I paint, and really heavy-handed. So, I mean, one of these days I'll learn, but it won't be anytime soon, I could only imagine. So, and we can even go in here and make this, like, give it some thickness. You know what I mean? Like, because this is too thin. So we can actually take and make with our eraser and give it a little bit of a thickness, give it some edge. And it won't be like a white line. We'll be able to work it around, and it'll give it some edge. And I'm really working too fast to concentrate on what I'm doing. But whenever I get better at this whole filming thing, the videos will be a lot better. Because I'm really having fun doing them. And we can take and kind of shade in with the area that I call the dome and give it that rounded look, catching more light up there. And I'll show you all another thing that I have that I made out of that stencil material that you get from Walmart. I was sitting around one day bored, and I wanted to make some stencils for some stuff, and I just, it's like $2 a piece, so it's pretty cheap. And I wanted